On square 2 treats, you are instructed to pick up 33 stitches using cuddle yarn and 3mm needles. You're picking up stitches across the top edge of square 1 cappuccino, which has 32 stitches. So in the instructions on page 6 of your July mail out, you will see that it gives you instructions there about picking up 16 stitches, 1 extra stitch, and then 16 stitches. If you would prefer to cast on a completely separate square for treats, that is absolutely fine, but I much prefer to pick up stitches, and I'm going to show you now how I do this. Okay, so we're picking up just beneath the cast off edge of square 1, and let's look first of all at the stitches. Now there's a combination in this row where we're picking up of knit stitches and purl stitches. However, the place where we're going to put our needle is exactly the same place, it just looks a little bit different. So just starting at the outer edge here, your edge stitch here is the one that just curls over slightly, and you need to start by putting your needle into the first gap that you see, in other words through the middle of the edge stitch, as close to the top of the work as you can do. Take your cuddle yarn, put it over the needle and bring the new stitch through. Now the next stitch is actually a purl, but if you just open up the knitting, you will see that there is actually the V of a knit stitch there, 2 legs just above the purl stitch, and it's through the middle of those two strands there that you put your needle from front to back. So I'm going right underneath the cast off edge and not through it. Bring the new loop through. You then proceed to the next stitch. Again, it's a purl, so if we just look very carefully, I'm just sliding my needle under the stitch there, just beneath the cast off edge. There's the gap, so there's a gap here and I jump into this gap. That's the middle of the last stitch before the cast off. Okay, 3 picked up. So I proceed now to the 6 stocking stitches of the cable. So it's into the middle of the stitch, pull the loop through, and repeat this across all these 6 stitches. Okay, I'm now back to the 4 stitches of reverse stocking stitch between the cables, but again it's quite easy because you just simply look for the stitch that's directly below the cast off, just above the bump of the purl stitch, and you'll see a gap there that you can very easily slide your needle into. If you're not sure, just open the knitting up with your fingertips just to check that you're going into the right place. Okay, remember it's 16 stitches and then we've got to pick up an extra one. So I'm just going to stop and count how many I've got. That's 1, 2, 3, 16 stitches, right? Okay, so you should at that point be in the middle of the center cable, and instead of going into the next stitch, I'm going to put my needle between the stitch I've just picked up and the next one to pick up, and into that gap there I'm going to put my needle and pull the loop through, and that's my extra stitch. And then you continue picking up the remaining 16 stitches so that you have 33 stitches at the end of the pickup, ready for square 2. And it looks like this on the back. A slight ridge where you've picked up the stitches.